welcome to our spoiler review of the first two books of the Raven cycle, both The Raven Boys and The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater.
Take it away with the plot, Chelsey.
Okay, so I adored these books. I have not adored books like this in a very long time, it seems. There is a town in the south, I guess it is. They've got their southern accents. Don't ask me to do one.
Henrietta.
Yep. So, and in this town, there is a prep school for boys who have lots and lots and lots of money. And in the school, there are 3 boys in particular that we're following. Actually, there's kind of 4, but we'll get to that. One is Gansey. He's very rich, and he has been obsessed with finding a Welsh king that has supposedly disappeared from history, but he thinks is actually buried in somewhere in this town. There is Adam, who kind of inexplicably became friends with Gansey, even though they have a very different backgrounds. Adam is kind of from a trailer park. His father is abusive, and he works
Three jobs.
So
he can go to this school.
You know, he's always working, he's always tired, he always has to deal with his home life, but he will not accept help from anyone. Not Gansey, especially not Gansey, and not anyone else. He wants to be the one to pull himself up by his bootstraps, even when it kills him. And then there's Ronan, who is just a bag of fun.
He's my personal favorite.
He's mine too.
We're stopping for a moment because when I originally read the first book, every time I saw the name Ronan, my mind just automatically flashed back to Guardians of the Galaxy, and so in my mind it was the group of 5, 4 boys, 3 boys, 1 girl, and the big frickin' like Lee Pace blue monster walking around. And of course everything was normal except the fact that he was like big, and when Ronan's character kind of fit, like it kind of worked.
Because he is angry all the time. Like, he basically uses anger to mask any emotions he has.
He's very volatile.
And then he's angry.
Anything will set him off.
He's very harsh, but he also is kind of a secretly caring person under there. If you dig
love
deep.
it.
You just have to get used to him.
He's one of 3 siblings. And his older brother and him, they are always like at each other's throats about everything. And he has a younger brother. And it's just like, there are many scenes where like the 3 of them are together because they all go to church. It's basically the one day a week that they do. And they all sit in the pew, and like the older brother and him are sitting there just like glaring at
sniping at each other.
And then like the younger one will say something and they both like gaze fondly at him like parents.
They have a kind of horrible family history because their father, who they loved and, actually was brutally murdered, and Ronan was the one who found his body, like kind of brains everywhere, just not a good thing, and he kind of changed after that, understandably, but that's when he kind of put up this like angry wall, and the only person who can really ever get through to him is Gansey. But you get used to Ronan, and you kind of really love his just like, I don't even care attitude.
My favorite Ronan moment will come after you finish summarizing the first book, because it's at the very, very end, and it's just my favorite thing he does in the whole book.
Okay.
So continue.
Okay. So anyways, then there's Blue, who lives in a family of female psychics. And she's not a psychic, she is a psychic battery amplifying their powers. Basically, they end up meeting each other and helping Gansey along this quest to find the Welsh king, which is buried under a ley line, and ley lines are just kind of like lines of power, psychic, electric.
That run between like big landmarks. So think like Stonehenge and like Easter Island. So big kind of like locations of power.
Yeah. And it's kind of like those locations were built on the ley line as much as the ley line connects them, kind of thing. And so they're trying to find where Glendower is buried because he's supposedly sleeping. Glendower was a rebel in like the 13th century, and
I have notes. Basic, very, very, very basic overview on Glendower. Is born somewhere between 1349 or 1359, died 1415. He was a Welsh ruler, and he was the last native Welshman to hold the title of Prince of Wales. And so basically, sometime in the 14th century, he instigated a Welsh revolt against Henry, the King of England, and his uprising was initially extremely successful, and the only reason it kind of fell apart was that England had better stuff.
They had like better navy, and
they had more artillery, And so he was driven from his last stronghold sometime around 1409, and the last documented sighting of him was in 1412. Even though there were large rewards on his head, he was never betrayed to the English, which is kind of cool. They all loved him so much. And his death was recorded from a former follower in 1415. And he actually, this is my favorite thing during my research, because I totally kind of mirrored this. He appears in Henry IV by Shakespeare in part 1. And he is portrayed as a wild and exotic character. He claims to be able to call spirits from the vasty deep, and he's ruled by magic and tradition. So he became a national hero upon his resurgence of Welsh nationalism in the 19th and 20th centuries.
Oh,
there's your history lesson.
Okay. So anyways, they're looking for this Welsh king. And Blue kind of gets lumped into them. She doesn't like Gansey at first.
But there's one of the things is on a certain night every year, along the ley line, which at this point she only knows as the Corpse Road, souls of the soon-to-be deceased walk down the road, and basically her family goes and watches and takes names. And so Blue is there. Blue has never seen
a ghost
before, because she's not psychic. She's the magnet. And she's there, and she sees
a ghost. And he's dripping wet, and she's kind of really shocked. And she's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "I'm Gansey." And then a little while later, she finally meets him, and she's like, "Oh shit, this guy's gonna kick the bucket this year. I don't even know how to deal with this."
And her mother says, "The reason you probably saw him is he's probably your soulmate."
That or you killed him. So,
or both!
Yay! So anyways.
Hey, you remember that kissing curse you had?
Because, yes, I didn't mention that. She has been told all her life that when she kisses her true love, he will die. It's not like the moment, I don't know. It's kind of her fault. It's implied. But anyways, so they're looking for this thing. And there was another boy with them. He's Noah. And Noah's kind of in the background. They're like, "Oh, there's 5 of them," but you don't really hear a lot about Noah. And then you realize halfway through the book that he was actually murdered by somebody who was kind of looking for a favor from the ley line.
Very rarely do books like this pull a fast one on me. I was just like, no, you didn't. The last time something like this happened was when I was reading American Gods and I missed the Loki thing. So I was just like, good on you, Maggie Stiefvater.
And I mean, they're just like, has anyone seen him eat anything? When was the last time you saw him at school?
I've never classes with him.
I've never actually been in his room, because they all live together, by the way. And they're like, shit.
And then they finally face him about it. He's like, "I told you."
They're like, what? And the thing is, he always has this smudgy part on his face. She always describes him as kind of smudgy. And it turns out that that's actually where he first...
His head wound, basically.
Yeah, where he ended up dying. Now, Gansey ended up almost dying. He's allergic to hornets. And when he was younger, he...
on the ley line.
And he got stung by a whole bunch of hornets. Should have died, but then...
That was a creepy scene.
Oh, it was. Still creepy. She just pulls it through the whole series. Just... yeah. Anyways, so he should have died, but because Noah was dying somewhere else, he ended up being able to live, and that's what sent him on this quest. So he's been all over the world looking. He's finally narrowed it down to this one location. They find a whole bunch of clues that kind of connect them to the search. They find a big raven mural that you can only see from a helicopter. But the one thing they find is Cabeswater. And Cabeswater is a magical forest that changes however you kind of want it to, and the trees speak Latin.
And okay, reason 257 why I like Ronan. So Ronan comes in, and it's kind of said that Ronan he doesn't pay attention in his class. He doesn't do well in school, except for Latin. Bitch knows his Latin. And so they walk into the forest like that, and it's like, "Oh, the trees are talking. What are they saying?" Ronan's just like, "Latin. What are they saying, Ronan?" "This." And he's so frank about everything. So it's kind of this kind of creepy thing going through that Ronan, there's something about Ronan that you just don't understand. There's this extra dimension to him that ties him into everything, and you don't know what it is until the second book.
But anyways, so Blue also has an aunt who's been staying with her. Neve, yeah. And she's a little creepy. She wants something and you're not exactly sure what it is until the end. Now, Noah's killer has been wandering around. He's actually a teacher at the boys' school, Aglionby. And he's kind of realized that Gansey is on the trail that he was on. And so he actually attacks Gansey and steals his notes and goes after the ley line. And this is building up to the climax of the first book of Raven Boys. So, I don't remember his name. He's the guy who killed Noah. He's heading for the forest so he can make a sacrifice to wake the ley line because the ley line is sleeping at this point. And Neve kind of catches up to him and is like, hey! And then she knocks him out and puts him in the trunk. You're just like, whoa! Holy crap, lady. And he wakes up and he's tied up and she's like got her candles and stuff and she's meditating and she's like, I'm gonna sacrifice you now.
Just hold still.
You're just like, whoa! Whoa there.
So our entire main character crew comes into the forest at this point, and it's like, let's stop the teacher before he does something. Oh crap, we gotta stop Neve before she does it. Oh crap, we gotta wake the ley line, but oh crap.
Somebody needs to make a sacrifice, and then all of a sudden Adam walks up and he's like, he doesn't know exactly how he does it, but he goes to K-Water, I'll be your
eyes and hands.
So he ends up making the sacrifice, waking the ley line. Mara, Blue's mother, who's actually an important character, ends up doing something with Neve's stuff that makes her disappear. She's just gone. And
they kill.
The murderer gets trampled by wild animals.
Because reasons!
But it really makes sense.
Yeah, the thing is that these books, it doesn't feel like anything's happening, but there's a bunch of stuff happening, and everything just makes so much sense in the world of the story that it's kind of... And it's eerie.
It's kind of like somebody's telling you a fairy tale.
Yeah.
Right? Where things happen and it makes sense, but you're not exactly sure why it makes sense.
Alright, so basically, my favorite Ronan moment after this, they do all this shit, and everybody's like, shit, Adam, you made this sacrifice. Shit, Noah's okay. Shit, Gansey, are you okay?
Everybody's okay.
And Ronan's just like, hey guys, by the way, you know my pet raven? Yeah, totally pulled her out of my dreams. And you're just like,
next book, please.
And that's how it ends. And you're just like, Ronan, you asshole.
Oh, you just love him. So the next book kind of focuses on Ronan. It's called The Dream Thieves. And Ronan has been hiding this ability his whole life that he is able to pull things from his dreams. Sometimes it's a nightmare, and that is fucking creepy as hell. And sometimes it's just little things that are very strange in the real world, and they work kind of against all logic. Like, there are pens that work like pencils, or planes that just kind of fly because they
It's
can.
kind of some, hardcore surrealist level shit, basically.
Yeah, just whatever he wants. But he's not sure how to use this power, or where it's coming from, but he knows his father has it, and he thinks that's probably why he's killed. He was killed. Blech. So, anyways, Ronan decides that he needs to figure out what's been going on with his family. Because when his father died, his father wrote a will that said, okay, you guys cannot go back home if you want to inherit my vast fortune. So he's kicked out of his home. His mother has, collapsed and she's in a coma.
Sleeping Beauty-esque.
Yeah. And he can't see her because she's in the house.
It's really a hardcore Sleeping Beauty parable because if you think about it, everything in the barns, the estate of the Lynch family, is asleep. Everything.
And
the cows and the mice.
And you find out it's because Niall Lynch actually was taking things from his dreams, right? So that also means that his mother is a dream thing.
Basically, what happens if a dream object, person, creature, mathinger, once the dreamer is dead, they just kind of stop.
They're kind of disconnected from their power source is basically what it is.
So they're not necessarily dead-ish, they're just
without a means of moving.
It's like powering down your computer, putting your computer to sleep.
It's not destroyed, it's just asleep. Mom. Anyways, so the one other person that Ronan knows that has this power is a boy called Kavinsky, and holy shit, that boy has played way too many online games. Because everything is like, hey, you know, suck my cock, you know, fuck that shit.
You explained it, it's like you're playing, like, I don't know, Call of Duty, and there's that 11-year-old kid on the other side.
Like, I screwed your mother, I had her 10 ways, and now she's texting me, she says she wants my giant dick. Like, and everything that comes out of this boy's mouth is just, like, makes you feel dirty and,
But he can pull stuff out of his dreams.
And he does it well. He's even, like, created drugs from his dreams that actually help him
pull stuff out of his dreams.
Yeah.
Like, he's got some serious Inception level shit happening.
Yeah, it's a very good way to describe it. He's like just a field of cars that are almost identical, but not quite. Just like a field of just this one car. And so Ronan is kind of like drawn to this guy because he knows stuff that Ronan doesn't. And so in just kind of like this act of just like, fuck, I kind of need to figure this out, and I just need to fuck shit up, he just takes Ganzi's precious car and goes drag racing with it? That's the word? Yeah, drag racing with it, and destroys it. And that was a moment for me where I'm like, it was just like the be-all and end-all, like, how could you? What are you thinking?
You totally just betrayed your best friend's trust. Yeah.
Like, and it was just like, you felt it. You were like, whoa, what is wrong with you? And that was just like a mark of how well the story was written and how well she kind of puts importance into things, because you're just like, I mean, it's a car, but you're just like, you felt betrayed. You were like, why would you do this? And so, I mean, Ronan ends up kind of dreaming up a new one that's identical.
And so basically he learns from the other guy how to, like, more control his dreams, and it's mess. Like, their relationship is so fascinating because you don't know. You don't know if it's a possible friend thing. You don't know if it's a romantic thing. You don't know if it's just, like, sexual attraction. You don't know if it's just that they're drawn to one another because they have this ability. There's just so much going on between these two, and it's so ambiguous, and it's like a dream itself.
Yeah, the whole book is very dreamlike.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, on the other side of things, Adam is kind of learning how to use his new powers. He's kind of slowly self-destructing, because I think what we forgot to mention in the first book is that his father is abusive, and Adam kind of just like refuses to take any help from anyone, so he's stuck at the house, and one day his father comes in, beats him up, and ends up punching Adam in the side of the head, and he loses his hearing. But so Adam has kind of moved out. He's kind of living on his own, but he still doesn't want to take help from anyone. So he's kind of like self-destructing because Cabe's water is trying to get through to him.
But he's refusing to listen, and it's painful to watch this happen to this character.
Because it's kind of like, you know, that moment at the end of The Shining where he's just kind of walking down the hall and seeing things?
That's pretty accurate.
That's kind of what it's like. And just, like, he goes wandering for, like, hours and hours, and he just kind of wakes up and doesn't know where he is, and it's creepy. It's creepy. What's Blue doing?
Blue is trying to figure out her emotional self. She's trying, because in the first book there was kind of a relationship blooming between her and Adam, and she really, really wants to like Adam. She wants to like Adam instead of Ganzi. Like, because
she doesn't even know she likes Ganzi at that point. She's just like, she does like Adam, but it turns out
not it.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
They don't work.
Yeah, they just, like, no matter how hard you try to fit them together, they don't fit. And she's kind of struggling with this whole curse thing again, because it's kind of stressing her relationship with Adam and making it so that it doesn't even, like, there's no chance that it could fit, because he wants to kiss her, she wants to kiss him, but she doesn't.
And she doesn't want to tell him why either.
Yeah. And so there's actually this really, really sweet scene between Blue and Noah, because everybody's gone away. Gansey and Adam have gone off to Gansey's house for a thing with his mother. Ronan's off being Ronan, and Blue comes over to the abandoned factory that the guys live in, and Noah lets her in, and she's like, they're just like, they do stuff, and it's really kind of cute. They hang out, and he's just like, so why don't you want to kiss Adam?
And she's like, well, I've always been told that if I kiss my true love, he'll die. And he's like,
I'm dead already!
Kiss me!
And she's just like, okay.
And so there's just like this really sweet, gets under your skin kind of kissing.
Because they try and it doesn't work. And they're just like, look.
It's just,
you gotta do it like you mean it. It's so cute. You're just like, oh, you two are so cute.
God.
And so, of course, Kidswater has also disappeared. And this is a big, horrible thing on Gansey because he's like, where is it gone? Oh my god, we were so close, guys. Guys, we were so close. And you find out that the reason it's disappeared is because
Ronan and Kavinsky have been making dream things and
sucking the power.
Just, using it all. So basically, Ronan realizes what's happening, where this power is coming from, and he decides that he is going to have to stop Kavinsky, and Kavinsky is not going to stop. We forgot about the Grey Man.
Yes, we will start. Okay, so the other thing happening is this guy, Greenmantle, I think his name, is looking for the Grey Warren, and he needs it. And so he sends in Hitman Mr. Grey, and he comes in, and you're just kind of like, I don't like you. You're kind of creepy, because it's just like, oh, he does this, this, and this, and he likes poetry, and he wrote this book, and some universities use this book, and he goes to the bed and breakfast he's going to stay in, and I'm just like, oh, fuck.
Like, he's just described so blandly.
And nicely.
But he's a hitman, and he's the hitman that killed Ronan's father.
And so then he ends up going to Blue's house, and a romantic relationship begins with Mara, Blue's mother, and Mr. Grey, and you're just like,
This is not okay.
I don't like this, guys.
This is not what we do with hitmen.
But you kind of come to really love him.
Just because he kind of accepts Blue and Mara and everybody's zaniness, and he doesn't actually have any hatred or anger towards.
It's just his job.
Yeah, and so you're kind of like, okay, and you can tell he's really hot. I don't know. He's in my mind.
That qualifies everything.
well, you're like, I don't want to like this guy. But he seems like a decent person. He's probably really good looking. And he's probably the exact kind of person you should run away from. But he ends up developing this relationship with them. So anyways, he's been looking for this Grey Warren.
And he finds out that the Grey Warren actually is Ronan and Kavinsky, because they're the pulling dream things. And so he has to make this decision. Does he bring them to the guy,
Greenmantle,
who's hired him, or does he do the right thing and not? And so that's his main conflict. And he decides not to. He actually says, I totally have it, guys. I'm running away. I'm keeping it for myself.
And the Greenmantle is a way of control. Kind of knows everything about you. He will make your life a living hell if you kind of go against him. So he calls up the Grey Man's serial killer
brother
and kind of lets him follow him, and that was just creepy.
Mr. Grey actually kills his brother.
Yay! So anyways,
one of the most anticlimactic scenes of my life.
I was just like, yeah, I guess that was the obvious solution, but
it's because he's running away and he sees two cars following him. One is a group of other people looking for the thing, which he just said, guys, I don't have it, see you later. And the other is his brother. And so he walks up to his brother's car, and his brother's ready to scare the crap out of him, and he just pop, pop, and then drives back.
Oh gosh, it was good. But anyway, so Adam realizes that the showdown between Ronan and Kavinsky is going to happen, and Ronan is going to need some serious juice. So he finally gets in contact with Kidswater, figures out what it needs, and it turns out it just wants to kind of be set right. So there's kind of some things out of place that are distorting it and draining off its power, like a rock out of place or a stone turned the wrong way, or
So he goes around with Persephone fixing things.
for Ronan. And in this epic final kind of like showdown thing, Ronan and Kavinsky are fighting, and Ronan pulls out one of his horrible
nightmare creatures,
nightmare things, and absolutely like destroys Kavinsky.
Yeah, because Kavinsky pulls out a dragon, and so the two things fight, and it's weird because like they fight, and it kind of gets to the point where Kavinsky, he just wants the thrill. He's just doing this because, hey, it's fireworks and so what he does is like they're having this fight and Ronan's just like, we gotta stop, no, yeah. And Kavinsky just kind of stands up in a car and his dragon thing just comes through him and kills him. And that's it, that's done. And it kind of reminded me about like Disney movies, how the Disney main character never actually kills the bad guy. They tend to find like very like safe ways to do it, and so Ronan's just kind of like, huh,
look at that.
Okay, that just happened. Let's go do stuff.
So the book ends, and you're just like, oh my god,
I need the next one. Give it to me.
I adore these books. The next one comes out very soon. I've actually already read it, so I've been having a hard time discerning what's happened when.
I just finished The Dream Thieves last night, so I will be starting Blue Lily Lily Blue tonight.
Yay! Advance copies.
Woo!
Okay, so we adore these books, and we recommend that you go out and read them. We are going to be doing a review of Blue Lily Lily Blue very shortly, where it'll be our actual review and not just kind of like the vague one we did for these two, because we didn't want to spoil it for people, but we really wanted to tell them to read it because
read them, they're amazing.
So we will see you next time, guys, and hope you have fun.